Hi guys, this is Studio X, and today I will be showing you a tutorial of how to make a RGB split effect in After Effects. So in this tutorial I will be going through steps of making the graphics and then applying the RGB split, as well as applying color correction layers and creating noise and grain that will be overlaid on top of the footage to blend it in a lot more and stylize it. So let's get right in. So first thing you need to do is open After Effects. Once you're in After Effects, make a new composition. Let's call this main. Let's make it 160 frames, 1920 by 1080, and you can just hit OK. Click on the 8-bit color channel and change that to 32. That way we can work with a better range of colors and just to make it look nicer. So to start off, I got a Adidas logo from Google, and you can just throw it in your project, put it in here, and because it's a black logo on white, I'm gonna have to invert it. So to do that, I'm just gonna go to levels, throw it on there, and just swap the black and the white. So there we go. Let's make the logo smaller so it fits the screen better, and we are also gonna have to rotate it so that the bars are straight. I'm using the Adidas logo, but you can really use anything. It doesn't really matter. You can create your own text, but because the beginning video was an Adidas logo, I'll just show you how I did all the animations and all that kind of stuff. So to make the animations, I made a new solid, made it white, hit OK. Let's make it 50% opacity, and I just stretched it over and just try to get it the right size. Then I duplicated it 3 times. Perfect. Now we are gonna pre-compose this and call this bars. So once we are in here, we are gonna make an animation of the bar opening up. So to do that, we are gonna get the rectangle mask tool, select the size, just like a really large size, and in mask you're going to keep it at add, go to frame 30, check the mask expansion, and then you can just go back, you can just bring it in, so in the negatives, and just keep pushing that number until the bar disappears. So perfect. Then you can just right click on it, go to keyframe assistant, easy ease, and do the same at the end. That way the bar slowly opens and it just extends very slowly at the end as well. Perfect. So now you can just copy this mask, go to the beginning, and duplicate it onto the other solids as well. So now they should all open up. Perfect. Now you have to offset the speed. I did that by 2 frames on each one, so I just kind of moved 2 frames, and then I went 2 more frames and I offset that one as well. So now they are offset a little bit. Then what you're gonna do is you're gonna add the motion blur and check the motion blur on. So now you get to see that it has some motion blur on it, and let's bring all of these back to their 100% opacity. Perfect. Go back into the main, make this 50%, and just scroll to the end of the clip. So now we are going to need to mask the bottom triangle shape. So just choose the pen tool, press, and press where it ends, and then just go down. Basically just mask it out. Then go to do subtract, and mask the path, and go to maybe frame 20, and you can just hold shift on your keyboard and just press the down arrows until the mask disappears off the screen. Perfect. And you're going to do the same thing with these keyframes as well, and right click on them, go to keyframe assistant, easy ease. Perfect. Next thing you are going to do is offset and basically lower the bars down. So once again, just go to the end, get this rectangle tool, make sure your bars layer is selected, and bring it down until it just touches the bars, and do that for every single one. Beautiful. And perfect. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna choose subtract for these as well, and open these up, and once again, maybe at like frame 70, you're just gonna keyframe the mask path to where these are, and then at frame 50, you're just gonna choose all of them, and just hold shift and bring them up as well. Now what you're gonna do is you're gonna offset these just like that as well. I'm just gonna press on the layer and hit U, just so I can open up all of the keyframes instead of having so many other things open as well. Select all these, go to keyframe assistant, easy ease, and offset each layer by 2 frames, just like we did in the beginning as well. You're gonna fix the timing on them later. We just want to get an equal distance between all of the framing. So now you're gonna toggle the switch, hit the motion blur, and enable the motion blur as well. So now you're getting motion blur on all of these animations as well. So now I'm just gonna make the quality really low and just preview what we have so far and disable the Adidas. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna move these animations and make sure that it overlaps with the bottom that goes down. I'm actually gonna make it start a little early. Perfect. This should look good. Beautiful. So now what you're gonna need to do is you're gonna enable your text so you can see where it is. You're gonna make a new null object and just call this tracker. Next thing you're gonna do is you're gonna connect the bars to the tracker and the Adidas logo to the tracker, just so you can use the Adidas logo as a reference, and you're gonna start rotating this. So let's go to our keyframes, and just when the bars start going down, you are gonna go to the tracker, hit R on rotation, press the rotation, go to maybe frame 170, and just do -30 degrees because we originally turned it 30, so now we're gonna turn it -30 to straighten it out. And once again, select the keyframes, right click on them, and go to easy ease. Perfect. Now you're gonna make the Adidas text, and you're just gonna take the text tool and type in Adidas, and the font is ITC Avant-Garde, so you'll probably have to download this font from the internet. And let's just go to the Adidas text and the original logo, make it 50%, and we're gonna choose our Adidas text, line that up, and try to match. So what you're gonna have to do is you're gonna have to really stretch it out to try to match it with the original text here. So you're gonna do a little squishing of the text, and then you're gonna do a little kerning action on it as well. So this matches up pretty close, and now I'm just gonna need to, let's see, there we go. I'm also gonna need to stretch it out this way just slightly, just so the A lines up. Perfect. And now that the A is lined up, I can just hold Option and use the arrow keys to nudge each letter separately, closer or farther away from each other. That way we can get the text to look more or less close to what the original one is. So now you can turn off the Adidas reference, and you're gonna have to connect the Adidas text that we just made to the tracker as well. So when it rotates with these bars. So the Adidas text needs to be animated. So in order to do that, you're gonna go into Effects and Presets, Animation Presets, Text, 3D Text, and this one I believe was 3D Flip In Rotate X. So you can just take it, drag it onto your text, hit U on the keyboard so you can see where the keyframes are, and just move the keyframes closer. Now if you're going to preview it, you're going to see the text flips over. Boom, perfect. So I'm going to just make it a little slower, not as fast. And once again, select the keyframes, go to Keyframe Assistance, Easy Ease, and apply motion blur to the text as well. So I'm actually going to start animating the text earlier. So once the bar starts coming up, I'm going to start putting the text in here. There we go. And I'm also going to move the rotation and start it early as well. Perfect. So now that we have that ready, go to bars and make it 100% opacity. Perfect. So now you have the Adidas bars coming in and looking perfect. So let's look at our Adidas logo reference and our final result. So they look very similar. So at this point you can just delete the reference Adidas logo, save your project. I'm just going to call this Adidas tutorial. Now let's get into the RGB splitting. So in order to do that, you're going to need to duplicate your bars 2 times and make sure they're still connected to the tracker. And I'm going to rename it bars R, bars G, and bars B. So R is for red, G is for green, and B is for blue. So now you're going to need to, instead of your normal, you're going to go to add for B, and for G you're going to go to add as well. So what that does is adds the colors together. Right now they're all white, so they're not making any difference currently, but that's about to change. So let's go into levels, take the levels and throw it onto B. Let's solo this layer just so you can see what we're working on. So here's our bars, and under channel, because this is blue and we want the blue to be visible, you're gonna go to red and you're gonna take the white and just bring it all the way down. So you see the red output white, you can just make that 0. So now you can go to green and you can make that 0 as well. So now you have 100% blue. So you're gonna do the same thing to bars G. So take the levels, bring it there, and go into red and make that 0, and go into blue and make that 0. So now you only have 100% green. So you're gonna go and do the same to the bars R and just do that to the red. So you're gonna go to green, you're gonna make that 0, and go to blue and you're gonna make that 0. So now once you unsolo the layers, you're gonna see that you have white text. So basically nothing has changed until you start moving the layers out, and you see that because they all have to be within the same plane to make white, once you start offsetting them, you start getting different colors. So if you move green, you're going to get a different color, and if you move red, you're going to get a different color as well. So they all interact within each other. So now to make them wiggle like I did in the intro you saw in the beginning, all you need to do is hit P and alt click the keyframe button and type in wiggle 2, which is basically the speed, and 10, which is how many frames it moves within that speed. So if you just play it back, you're gonna see that it's gonna slowly move a little bit and split that channel. So if you only want to keep it red and green, you can just select that. But I moved all of the colors, so I went to position and did the same wiggle on all of them. And as you can see, I did the same one here, wiggle 2, 10. And now what you get is you get the color glitching in all directions, all kinds of colors, and looks very interesting. So to do the same thing for the Adidas, that's all it takes. So you're just gonna duplicate it twice. Again, make sure that it's parented to the tracker. Go to add, and instead of renaming them, I'm just gonna keep them in the same plane. So I'm just gonna copy the levels and paste it to the top one, and then for the middle one I'm gonna copy the levels and paste it to the middle one, and for the red I'm gonna copy the levels and paste it to this one. So, and for the position, you can literally do the exact same thing. So just alt press it and do wiggle 2, 10, wiggle 2, 10, and wiggle 2, 10. So now you can see that all the colors are splitting and they're making these different patterns in different colors, so everything looks great. And we have all this motion blur from the text moving and the lines moving, so we have all of that in check. So now it's the last part, and it's color correcting and adding grain. So first thing you're going to need to do is you're going to make a new solid. We'll keep it white for now. Bring it all the way to the back and go to ramp and apply gradient ramp. I'm going to choose radial ramp. I'm going to swap the colors, and for the starter ramp my second number is going to be 540, which is basically 1080 divided by half, so it's in the middle of the scene. And I'm going to move this line over, not the line, the little circle, which is basically where the pivot is, and I'm going to change the white color to just a dark gray. So that looks good. Next thing you're going to do is you're going to go to layer, new, adjustment layer, and keep it on top, and you're going to apply grain, and you're going to do add grain, apply the effect here. And instead of doing preview, we're just going to go straight to final output, and you're going to see that you're getting grain on the dark areas, but you're not getting anything on the white. So in order to get grain on the white, it can't be 100% white. So what you can do is either you can color correct each individual layer, which is going to take a little bit because you have a couple of layers, or you can just do it a simple way and just make a new solid that is almost white, so 94%. Hit OK, hit OK, bring it just under the adjustment layer, and let's see what kind of options we're going to do. Let's do multiply, and let's see if that does anything. Yes, so it changed the gray. And for that white solid, we're also going to do add grain, and let's do final output, and let's just put a big number like 5, and as you can see, we are getting grain. So if I go into full quality, you're gonna see a lot more grain. Alright, perfect, looks good. I would probably add even more grain into the white. There we go. And yeah, so that's looking good. Maybe I'll change the size down, so make it 0.3, just so you're getting a smaller sized grain. Alright, perfect. Except now it's like too much color coming through, so I'm just going to change the intensity to 3, and that should be good. So while that's updating, I'm going to make another new layer, which is an adjustment layer, which is going to be color correction. So let's rename it CC. This one is going to be grain main, and the white solid is going to be grain white, and everything else is self-explanatory. And let's rename the bottom one to BG for background. So for the color correction, you are going to go into effects and presets and type in exposure and just throw it on, and you're going to do something like -2. And what that's going to do is really darken the scene, but you don't want it to be all over the place. So you're going to go over here and choose the ellipse tool and just double click on it. And in the mask, do subtract. So what that does is, let me just increase the brightness of the entire scene so you can see. So what it does is, you're basically vignetting the corners. So what you're going to need to do is feather the edges a lot more and bring the mask expansion in, just so you're really soloing out that text. So let me just reset the brightness of the scene, and that's looking a lot nicer. And maybe you're also going to do a lens, camera lens blur. And yeah, let's give it a blur radius of 10. So now you're also getting some blurred edges over here. So maybe I'm gonna not expand the mask as much, and maybe we just make it -100. Yeah, so that's looking pretty good. So with all the motion blur, with all the RGB splitting and the grain, you're getting an interestingly textured scene with some very interesting visuals. So now to end this entire animation with all the glitching, what you're gonna do is you're gonna go into the tracker, hit P on position, and keyframe it. And now we're gonna really go in, so it's almost frame by frame. And you're also gonna do R for rotation, and keyframe that as well. And you're gonna go into S for scale, and you're gonna keyframe that as well. Now you can hit U and pull up all the keyframes. And what you're gonna do is, you are going to go maybe 5 frames in. So if you're at frame 130, at frame 136, that seems pretty good. We are going to move the position just like randomly somewhere, like this corner looks good. You're going to make the scale 1%, so it's basically disappearing. And we're going to do a rotation, maybe something like -15, so it's rotating. Next, you're going to go into the middle of these keyframes and just kind of like pull it over, like over here, and then you're going to go into the middle of those keyframes and really pull it over here. You know, maybe I'm actually going to do this for the next frame, and then for this frame I'm going to pull it down, so it's kind of going in a curve, so it's kind of going in like half a circle. And then for these frames you're going to do the same thing. You're going to, you know, pull it, maybe you're gonna pull it over to the side over here, and then the almost last frame you're gonna pull it more in over here. So what that does is, because these frames are very close together and the motion is very, very big, you're getting this crazy motion blur on the text, and when you play it back really quickly, it just looks like it's glitching around and disappearing, when really it's scaling down and flying away. So this is what you get. And once it plays in real speed, it looks a lot different. So this is all for this tutorial. If you like this tutorial, please leave a like. If you have any suggestions on what other tutorials I should make, be sure to leave a comment. Also, I'm doing a new series where I review and critique other people's work. So if you would like for me to critique your work and go over and give you some feedback on it, just leave a comment and just write, hey, I'd want you to check out my work, and I'll make sure to include you and give you a shout out in the new series that I will be doing. So once again, thank you for watching. Be sure to subscribe to see more tutorials, and I'll see you in the next one.